You never thought dandelions could be merciless. Letty believed that 100%, and that same belief had found a special place in her brain despite the stabbing pain that swallowed her ankle. Though each step felt like thorns in her soul, she kept her composure intact and her vision steady, her breaths in rhythm with her feet in strides, like a highly depleted Olympian who never knew defeat. Her eyes burned with sweat and tears like her bronzed skin kissed by the midday sun, her mind too frantic to think or care about anything. Even when she felt like 1,000 needles pricked her skin, she took a step forward. Only God knew where this could go, she thought, watching the man's back and 2 rifles resting on his shoulders. Another survivor from another lost group, she noted, flashing empathy on her face. She swirled her head in all directions, hovering her sight across the sea of trees because it was the only thing she could do. To keep an eye on the monsters. Because, in her mind, one thing was crystal clear. He was a warrior. She was a burden. Unarmed, all she had was strategy. Without any martial arts know-how, she was sure she didn't want to get stuck in the thick forest in the middle of the night. She could barely lift a leg and open her eyes to see a far distance, let alone fight, with only clothes and journals in her backpack. With her weight doubling from last year, getting involved with physical combat wasn't an option. If she were to fight, her strength was nowhere against the dandelions. Definitely not with injury. When she couldn't move a step, she stopped and lamented, mentally preparing herself for the man's argument. Because she knew there was no way for them to stop. Not until they could find a safe place to stay. Not in the middle of the forest. But the pain had conquered her logic and went beyond understanding. Can we stop here? Oh my God, she told herself, wiping the sweat on her forehead with her forearm. She wished to spend another hour underneath a shade. If lucky, a bed would be great. A luxury for the rest of the night before moving on to the next destination. It would also be cool if they could find shelters filled with food. Besides, she had to eat, and they hadn't eaten anything decent for days. Her stomach already roared like a hungry lion in famished Africa. Plus, she desperately needed sleep. Or at least a few hours to mourn for what she'd lost. Friends, family, and places that bear her childhood memories. Almost a week after this hysteria began, the whole town fell. The nation, in a total blackout. She hadn't had the time to grieve. Not even to cry out loud. For the first time, Mother Earth was silent within a week as if modern technology had skipped this timeline. No radio signals, no broadcasting, no communications. Whatever these dandelions were and whoever was responsible for this, they sure had planned it well enough to destroy the greatest country in the world in a single week.